Hey YouTube, Jay Uris checking in. Well, I am up here in rural Wisconsin, town, Waupaca, and I am in the house that my mom grew up in, born and raised here. It used to be called Bear Lake Road, then renamed to North Water Drive, and this is where I'd come every single year. As a kid, we'd have summer vacation, and my mom would bring my brother and I up here to spend time with the family, the aunts, the uncles, and the cousins. We had so much fun going down to Vesey Lake and romping around the farm. Plenty of space for a kid to do whatever and just be a kid, have a good time. Let me flip this thing around. One thing that I've noticed profoundly as I come walking down here is that dank basement smell. You know, just kind of turning my head and walking around here, it's profoundly different. Some of the fondest memories have the old basement shower. I got a ground fault circuit interrupter on the sump pump, but the sump pump, my grandpa would jury rig it to keep it running as long as possible, and the automatic float switch didn't work, so he had to manually get down and operate the float switch to turn the pump on when taking a shower. Sometimes it'd work automatically, sometimes. Wow, what in the world? Oh, wow. This is new. They poured some cement. This was an unfinished room. Grandpa, when I was a kid coming up here, this room, space rather, just had a dirt floor with bits of concrete debris on it. And this room here was the wood room. Where you keep all the firewood for the furnace. And of course you had the big number one fuel oil tank for the oil burning furnace, which I don't think that exists anymore. Looks like that oil line. Yeah, oil tank is empty. But there's an access portal to the outside of the house where Grandpa would have, after splitting wood, would load up the trailer. And I think at least on one occasion I'd be down here, or Ted, my cousin Ted, would be down here and pitching wood down here. And as the wood came down, we'd be stacking it up for the winter. But it was a long time ago that well, that doesn't do anything. Yeah, there's no more. There's the oil burners. That's discontinued, but I think this is the old wood burning furnace. Wow, that looks really code compliant right there. Holy crap. As an electrician, I've seen some bastardized stuff, but that definitely puts the icing on the cake. 2 blowers, and there's your, wow, just wow, huh. Holy cow. Anyway, this room was what we called the Root Cellar. Oops. Careful as I step in here. As a kid, used to come down here, and Grandma and Diane D would be canning vegetables and stuff from the garden in all these old mason jars. How many years it's been. I still remember what made that mess. Some sort of pickled pig's feet or something. Minced meat. Oh, there it is. There's the jar. Minced meat. Except it's been recycled to be used as paint. There's a light over here, but this room here, I don't know. Wow, it's just a big dark cave, and I can't turn the light on, I don't think. But inside there is where the deep well pump is to bring fresh water in the house. I have a memory. In fact, I have a scar on my hand. Get the light. Can't see the scar on my hand. It's right there where pointing at it with my thumb. There was an old 1940s chainsaw down here, and it was covered with a piece of carpet. And I'm just walking around doing whatever, just looking at stuff, and bumped it, and it fell off this whatever it was sitting on, and I tried to catch it with my hand, not realizing it was a chainsaw because it had a carpet on it. And as soon as I figured it out, I immediately opened up my hand and let it fall. And well, what the heck? Memories. No, she's dry. She's dry as a bone. I just, you can still, I had that basement, you could take me down there blindfolded, not knowing where in the world I was, and just, I'm at the Timm farm in the basement. It's the smell hasn't changed.
No, I gotta run a dehumidifier too.
Well, Grandpa used to have one all the time down there.
Yeah, well, I run it, we're in the cheapest electricity from 11 to 6 in the morning. Because they are energy suckers.
Well, I mean, it's basically an air conditioner.
Yeah.
It's basically or at the very least, it's a little mini fridge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's same stuff. Beagle, what are you doing, Beagle?
Where is she now?
Right over there.
No, she's on her screen. Yeah, I'm gonna get dressed. I gotta find some clothes.
And so much stuff here, so different. As we walk over here to the right is the hill that goes up to the barn, where we would, after cutting hay, we'd put hay up in the barn. And over here was Grandma's garden. I'd come here and we'd always have corn, sweet corn, tomatoes, beans, peppers, carrots, radishes. Wow, this is interesting. So this building over here was a corn crib. Let me get close. You can almost see right between this boarded crack. You see all these horizontal boards. It was wide open. The air and everything could just blow right through it. And that was on purpose to keep the corn dry. Well, here you can go. You can actually, this is the best way to look at it right here. And this corn, God, it seems so small. It's hard for me to, I'm 6'2" and 44 years old, and I mean everything. When you're a kid, everything is so huge. See the door. This building was known as the chicken coop. Make sure there's no wasps and stuff. Same old fuse panel. Well, it doesn't really smell like a chicken coop anymore. No idea what is actually above this ceiling. There's a lot of, see water dripping through. It looks like a lot of straw and crap. And I don't even know, I guess you could, from the outside, get up here. We usually kept the rototiller. That's the rototiller would be kept over in the corn crib. But yeah, I guess that door there would open up and take you into the attic. I don't know what that was ever for, but when I was real little, I think I maybe had one visit here as a kid when the farm was actually in dairy production. I seem to have a memory of a big truck backing up and Grandpa, there's a ramp. And you've probably seen it in other YouTube videos, they loading cattle onto a big 18-wheeler type truck and loading up his cows, and I seem to remember that being the last time there was ever cows. Wow. Grandpa's old fuel tank. They just don't make stuff like they used to. Steel shed. Catch a whiff of a skunk here and there, but I mean, it's just looking at some of this old wire and bars from the sickle mower, which doesn't even exist anymore. And I bet you anything, you could look through these parts cabinets over here and find stuff that hasn't been touched since when Grandpa passed away. I wonder if this is Grandpa's truck. Yeah, I think it is Grandpa's truck. I think. Just kind of walking down memory lane. When Grandpa had his orange truck, this first bay is where he normally would park orange truck. Here in the middle bay, he'd park the New Holland hay baler, which that's long gone. And then over here on this bay, he had the Ford 8N tractor, which I don't know who ended up with that. Big old propane tanks. And a long, long time ago, right here to the side of the barn was another building where it's kind of a ramshackle thing, as I always remember. It never looked too terribly sturdy. He had piles of wood and stuff in there, and that's where he kept the Alice Chalmers WD-45 tractor. This is Pat's little snort tractor. It's kind of different. This door doesn't look like it closes anymore. Here in this part of the barn, besides all the barn swallows flying around, let's see, this machinery here was the barn cleaner. And on a couple of occasions on my summer trips up here, one of my jobs was to clean the barn. And that involved, see this long chain with these basically pieces of angle iron kind of attached. Well, those go down. And this barn, that's just the smells are just bringing back memories. Those deals, the chain goes down here on one side. And basically, I'm sorry, I'm jerking the camera around. Makes a turn. Makes a turn. I'll turn over here under all this stuff. Goes back down that way and makes another turn and then drags out. So part of working the barn cleaner, you see that the channel here is all full of hay and bird poop and whatever. And Grandpa used to keep the dogs in the barn, Elvis and Snoopy, in the barn overnight. They weren't in the house, they were in the barn. So they'd poop and we'd scrape the poop into the cleaner, and over the period of a year it'd build up, and so you have to dig the whole thing completely out, which there's no way this thing would even work anymore. Actually, the floor here is just the foundation is all heaved, but dig it all out, get the barn cleaner to start and run. That's the electric box for the barn cleaner. It used to be. It was repurposed. And they just cut the wire off going to the barn cleaner motor. Bet you that motor still works fine. Back to the they don't build stuff like they used to thing. And this thing would start pulling the chain, and you have to go get old engine oil and grease the chain and lubricate all the corners with a grease gun and let it run for a bit, and then you start shoveling the stuff in and try not to overload it. And right here you'd park the manure spreader, and the stuff would dump into the spreader. This is the other side, so you could almost literally do a complete drive through. And this is over in this bay is where Grandpa would park the Minneapolis Moline tractor, which was It was a strong tractor, kind of a piece of junk. Had a very super duper extra sketchy throttle on it. So trying to remember here. I get that. I think that portal there goes up to the hay mound. So you see lots of birds flying in and out here. There used to be a long, long time ago, maybe around when I was 20, 21 years old, there used to be a silo there. But my cousin Maggie at the time was dating this really neat guy named Scott. And the foundation on the silo had shifted, and so the whole silo looked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So it had to be taken down. I mean, it was just done. So over here, door out to the barnyard. I wonder if this thing actually still opens. Oh my gosh, it does. So this is the remaining silo. This was Elvis's favorite place to go, and Elvis was my grandpa's German Shepherd. One of the reasons that I actually fell in love with the breed. Because I get to come up here and have a German Shepherd that was all mine for a month, and he would sleep with me and romp with me and swim with me at the lake, and we'd go hunting, and he'd find gophers and chipmunks, and he'd eat them. So now we're walking over here into the milk house. It's really, really different. Right here where I'm standing, in fact, you can, I think there's one right there too. And there's one, there actually used to be a large stainless steel bulk tank with some sort of mixing deal in there, and that's where when Grandpa was milking the cows, they dumped the milk into this tank, and it would had a stirring apparatus in there. In fact, you can see the breaker. There's a panel there, and right over here is where the refrigeration equipment ran that bulk tank. And kind of interesting memory about the farm is when my cousin Maggie got married. I think her husband Tom. I reserve the right to be wrong on that. I actually got that stuff working. Got the motors, the fan motors for the condenser lubricated, and got them spinning. And got it all started up. And we had the bulk. That's probably the last time that bulk tank was ever cold, because I think it was low on refrigerant and everything else. And over here under this stuff there's a water well. My grandpa's same old sink, her wash basin. Used to fill the dog's water with that. This is different. Used to be a big old heavy wooden door. Huh. God, the size. It's amazing how small everything looks. It's just absolutely the profound sense of giantism here. It used to be one of my play spots. I'd come up here for the summer and could climb up onto the side of the silo, get on top of this thing here. This is the milk house. They already said that. And that's kind of just a really neat little place to kind of hang out. You can see kind of, looks like some of the circles, oops, get it in the picture here, if it's visible or not. Some of the circles underneath the arches over there is probably where they were always with the hornets, bald-faced hornets, or I don't think it was yellow jackets. They don't build those silly cone nests they build there. So kind of an interesting thing. Probably nobody knows that I know this, but I told you that there's a well, that the jet pump is over there. The actual physical well is over here under this tree. Somewhere there's, right over in this general area, there's a concrete cover. If you open it up, you look down and you can see an Orangeburg pipe that goes over to the milk house. This place is just, everything is so different. So entirely different. Seem to remember there was a big tree in the middle of the yard that probably been long gone. And that other big tree over there, it, like everything, succumbs with age. Can't tell you how many times. I have so many memories of mowing the yard and doing all a bunch of work or baling hay, and me and Grandpa sitting on the porch there. That was the hangout. Sat out on a day like today, it's beautiful weather, partly cloudy. Sit out there enjoying a nice ice cold point. I think one of the things that's most profound if I'm not mistaken, both of these are apple trees. I don't see any fruit on yet. Maybe some little buds. They bear fruit later in the year, closer to the fall, I guess. I don't know. I mean, everything seems so much smaller. You can walk over there. That round circular building was a granary. I think if I was to walk around back, I want to say that somebody said that it actually a hole had rusted out in the back, big enough for a bear to walk through, but I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I can tell it's moved. You can tell it's moved off of its foundation. For years and years, even Grandpa, gosh, this had grain in the bottom of it. It's one of the projects I should have done is cleaned all that out, take it down to the cement floor so it was completely empty so the grain wouldn't sit there holding moisture, rusting stuff out. Jeez. Well, this kind of wraps up my walk through memory lane here at the former Timm farm on North Water Drive in Waupaca. I'll just close this one out here. I doubt this video will get a hell of a lot of views, but it's just there for my cousins and second cousins and stuff. I could share these memories because I don't have any kids. So everybody be safe. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.